my channel filled with all the things. I'm Dutchy. It's Friday. It's gonna be lit. Please hang out with me, vibe with me, chat with me, be a good human and of age always. And please like and subscribe. Get this party started. Cut up some collage pieces. Chit chat with my peeps. Hopefully, my peeps roll in. Always love the good conversations and laughs. And turn trash into treasure collage pieces, essentially. So please enjoy that with me. Kind of just roll with it. I want to color, maybe do some, just roll with the flow. Just roll with the flow. I think we put too much pressure on it sometimes. Like, life is just roll with the flow, and we just do not do that. I try, but yep. We second. What up? Happy Friday. How's it going? Any plans for the weekend? How you been feeling with everything? Life, the kiddos. The kiddos are like first. So kiddos, life, health. Health is like overall, because if we don't have like good health, mental health, physical health, then it all trickles down to the things that we care about. So that is always important. It's not selfish, it's important. And then that way we can pour into cups and not feel drained and give everything like it's all that it deserves. Doctor. Well, hopefully everything goes well. I'm sure that it will. Positive vibes. Just one doctor appointment today. So what ended up happening? I haven't really like caught up with you. Like, give me snippets. Yeah, they're gonna bring you back to life. I knew that you were a zombie. I knew it. I'm just kidding. That's interesting. Are you being like for real? They're gonna zzz. That happened to my neighbor actually, like a few weeks back, maybe almost a month ago now. Um, he was saying that he had to get like picked up in the night, and the doctor gave him like two choices, like to forget what the first one was. I think the first one was really dramatic. I don't know. I don't remember that, but I think I was just like stunned because he was like super not excited that he got shocked, but I guess they like reset his heart and gave him a little zzz. So, and he said he's been feeling better than he's ever felt. So I'm like, oh wow. I was like, are you a cat? Do you have multiple lives? Morning, Steve Urkel. I've seen that name before, but not because it's Steve Urkel. In the legs. How's everything going? I don't like to pry, so where people like to share then and feel like okay with sharing, then I know a lot of things happen over there on that side. A little bit of a setback for a major comeback, you're gonna feel like you can fly before you know it. So kind of is like remembering how to walk before we run, because a lot of times I feel like in life we like to run through things, and we have to remember that life is like literally a marathon, not a sprint. So quite literally speaking in that, but I hope that everything goes well and you just keep healing, so that way you can get back to doing what makes your soul happy, because I know that feels like probably like a limitation without judging. I don't know how you feel, I can't even imagine. How do you like that? Is that what he says? Steve Urkel? No, what does he say? I forget. It's been a long time. Family Matters is probably the only show that didn't get like really like hit with some hard allegations, you know? I feel like a lot of shows, not the only one, but a lot of the shows back in the day, it's sad. No, he says, did I do that? That's what he says. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Does he say got any cheese? Really funny, random story. Anytime I like hear cheese, besides like, I mean, I don't know. When I hear cheese, most of the time, which I love cheese, I love cheese, but anytime I hear it, me and my best friend think about the Guns N' Roses song, Welcome to the Jungle, of course. And he's like, nah, nah. And we used to say, nah, 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 cheese, please. Like, and we were like 10 years old, right? So, like, here we are in our 30s, and we still say that. She literally just texted me that, like, a couple weeks ago. So, nah, 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 cheese, please. Welcome to the jungle. We got fun and games. I'm like, welcome to the jungle. I got stories and like rants, and I can pull all kinds of things out of a hat. Throw it on the board. I discovered last time, or not last time I lied, but the time before, that I can do features. I'm like, dang, I haven't been like around in a while. And I also got a new potato, y'all. For anyone that knows the old potato, it went through a lot of things. It honestly treated me so well, and I had it for embarrassingly far too long. But if anyone kind of knows me a little bit, I know that I like in and out lately and haven't been like sitting down and chatting. But I'm not super into technology like the world is. I don't live under a rock by far. I'm unalive. But I definitely getting a new phone. I was delayed. I've like barely even used the new phone. I'm still like using the old potato. It's kind of it's kind of like it's crazy to say. Ask questions if you care, but I only I like started to discover like a little bit of like where I was in a time warp. But I'm so invested in different things that are like soul filling, and I'm always like trying to do like DIY projects around the house and stuff. So like that really keeps me busy. Obviously got to make money, so doing things like that, but like I really am not on my phone that much. And I know that like my core people in my life like kind of just understand that I'm really bad with my phone. Like I feel like a teenager sometimes, like I feel like it's like flashbacks of like answer your phone, and I'm like I just like dive off. Like, but I honestly was really upset at my mother for doing that at one point like 10 years ago. I got her a phone and stuff, and she just like would never answer the phone. I gave her a lot of leniency because she lived in the woods, so like there was not much service like towers, but then they got better out throughout the like 10 years. It's like wild. They're like so delayed over there, but I have turned into my mother. She was always doing DUI projects and always not answering her phone. So, anyways, I try to like fill life with like different things. As you guys know, most of you know, I love to craft and stuff, but I like to like build things and create things. If I have a vision, I want to excel it, I want to make it happen. And sometimes I'm like doing multiple projects because I do like feel like I spread myself thin in a lot of areas, but I do like to see them flourish and happen. So lately I've been painting my house on the outside. What an interesting project. Home Depot gave me the wrong shade of color. Fun times. I was planning to just paint a couple walls that I knew that needed it, and definitely around the front porch, because I think how the front of your door to your home, whatever your home may look like, whatever, is kind of like a presentation before someone comes in. It's an energy. I think you should keep it clean. Like that's how I feel about it. I'm like, I could go in detail, but I was like, okay, I know I'm going to do the front door area. There's a wall next to the front door that was like definitely like getting hit throughout the years with all like storms and life and whatever. So I was like, that thing needs to be painted because HOA is always trying to get me. So they're always trying to get me. So I was like, you know what? I really want to do this for me as well. I want it to be like a fresh beginning to in and out of my door because what you leave with energy from your home and you come in with energy. So it's like a kind of like, I don't know. It's like a fresh breath air. Anyways, ended up being the wrong freaking color. You could definitely, you couldn't tell from like a distance, and like if you're not like good at seeing color differences, like, and I'm not saying people should be or whatever, but you could definitely see the color difference. It was like slightly darker. And I was like, okay, well, I could have left it like that, but with the walls that I had to paint with connecting walls, and I did like another little patio area, they're definitely next to the other walls. You can see the difference. And I was like, and like I said, HOA, a bag of, they definitely, I was like, all right, I guess I'm painting the whole freaking thing. But I ended up liking the darker color because I think it will look better and like last longer. Like, I don't know, it just looks better and cleaner and fresher. So that ended up being a whole project. Anyways, so I'm still doing that. I need to still paint the actual front door. I think I'm going to do it last. And then I still have like multiple side projects. I just wasn't expecting to paint the whole exterior of the house. Like, and then that became a whole thing, but knocked a lot of it out. The whole exterior is done. There's some touch-ups that need to be done on the top, but the whole exterior is pretty much done. And now I have like the original projects that I wanted to do, like painting like my side patio by my garden, the patio, things like that. And then I just got steamrolled into other, like, yeah, I'm going to do this and this and this. So it's like, thank you, Home Depot. But at the same time, I even asked them and they're like, well, we cannot promise the exact color. And I'm like, well, what's the point? You're going to tell me to purchase this like paint thing that tells you what the color is. But you also can bring in a piece of your like house, essentially, piece of your wall paint, and then they will match the color. Yeah, they didn't match the color. And then they're like, of course, like, it's not exactly the same. Well, what's the point of doing that then, The guy was even like, it's a generic color. Okay, well, generic, he didn't get it right, but okay. Anyways. I've had my coffee this morning, y'all. Care Bears! I'm a painter. I'm a lot of things. I honestly would probably paint homes. They make so much money, and I'm honestly at painting like plain Jane, like walls and stuff. Like that's easy peasy. Like that's absolutely nothing for me. And I got a new brush, and me and the brush are like best friends. Like I even got another little set of brushes for like little areas and stuff to pretend like I'm like Picasso making it perfect. But I try to use the other little brushes, and I just was awful with them. And I was like, okay. And then I went back to the bigger wooden brush, and I could do the little areas with it. It was wild. Like, it was definitely a learning curve of like whatever. But my parents grew up like I grew up a little bit with my parents doing like apartments and like home renovations and stuff like that. So like I would like paint little projects for them. They probably gave me the most simplest thing, but I would watch my parents like do this growing up, and then every home that I've lived in, like I've painted. So I've always loved painting. But painting outside of a home I had never done, so that was a learning curve. Like a couple years ago, I painted my side patio concrete and the actual patio. But I did a different paint, testing a theory to see how long it would last. So now I'm going to go back and touch all that up. And I'm excited, whatever. So I want to call myself a painter, but I do have like a couple tools in my toolbox. It was Home Depot. Home Depots. Yeah, there was Home Depot. Home Depot. I was like, wow, thanks. I'm not super mad at them because I like the color, so it's not like crazy, but it definitely was different. So I was like, because paint's expensive. So I ended up like having to like pretty much do the whole house. I could have waited, but then I know that that kind of stuff would sit with me, and like I do have other projects always like in the works, so I'm like, no, I'm not gonna like be able to prioritize my time correctly, I guess, without being like a super butterfly, because I don't like to not get things done. So when I do tackle a lot of projects at once, it is overwhelming for me at times. And as I check them off, like I feel like most people probably feel this way. Once you check things off your list, like you always are like feel better about it. And then there's some things you like drag a leg about like finishing, but then when you finish, you're like, I should have finished sooner, you know? What up? Thanks, Davey. I appreciate it. I don't like to, I don't know. Artist is like, I feel like a very intimidating word. And for people that are artists and call themselves artists, like, and with pride, like, kudos to you, because I do feel like it is a very, word, like it's like oh because you always meet someone better than you. I worked at places that sold art too, and like I would meet a lot of artists, and their work is just like phenomenal. And then you see people that are like, so I don't want to say simple, but I strive for that a lot when I try to do like out of the box, like art fun, not just like trying to sell something, but like out of the box, like art fun. Like I do think simple is just not for me. I always go so complex with it. And it's definitely a hit or miss at times. I'm like, ugh. But I would see people come in and create more simple art, but it was just so beautiful. Like, and you could tell they're free, but maybe they don't think of it as simple. So that's why I don't like to say that, because I'm not trying to sell any artist's work, because anything you make is art. But I definitely wonder if they thought like as hard about like some more of the simple stuff. Like look at Picasso. Sorry, Picasso, but like your hard selling painting of your original like piece looks like chicken scratch. And I'm like, you know, like, but it's art. Like, it's still art, you know? And it's like, it's not chicken scratch. So, like, I do feel bad saying that. But I do feel like that paints a tone of, like, what you consider art is art, you know? I don't know. Yeah, I appreciate that. I went far-fetched. I went, like, intently with that. But I do think it is important to, acknowledge things. I think sometimes I just like pour into a lot, and I am not a perfectionist, but it's almost close to that at times. So when I feel like I'm not so good at something, I almost want to quit. I think most people feel that way. But then when I pour into something, like I don't want to be cocky, but I become like a master. So it is like interesting, but I'm always willing to learn, because I feel like you cannot be a master without being a beginner first. So that is a very humbling thing I have to remind myself often when I start new things. What up? What the heck? What up, Fraggle? And what up, Pico? You just didn't answer, but, and I appreciate that again, Davey. How's it going? Happy Friday. I almost want to do another shot of espresso, but I'm already like talking a mile per minute. Well, yeah, Ronnie. I just like didn't want to like insult Picasso, you know? Because whatever you consider art is your definition of art, period. Like no one can take that from you. Like, and I read something earlier actually. I was like trying to like inspire myself, and I read something earlier that was like, remember that like what you view things of maybe your style or preference XYZ is not always what someone else views. Like some people are just like so like I'm out here woo, like when I was younger, like all this was like my whole house. Like now I'm more like I have a place for that, but like I know that's not everyone's cup of tea. Like when I was in my early 20s, I lived in this other house, and I had art everywhere. Like I actually had a big like FU but it didn't say F you, it just said the F. In all colors. And I remember one of my friends was wanting to move in, but she was like, well, my mom would want to see the home, and I don't think she's going to be okay with that. And I was like, but it's like a colorful F, you know? And she's like, yeah, but, and I was like, I get it, mom, not mom approval. But also, I think I told this before, I also had a Where's Waldo wall. I destroyed a Where's Waldo book. I would say destroyed. I helped it out, and I like plastered it all over the wall. So like you literally find Waldo and all these different like segments. Oh no, segments everywhere. Hold on. Oh no, why would it like block this? Hold on, I need to check something too. Hold on. Oh. Yeah, sorry, I couldn't even read that yet. Hold on. So I was like, what? Oh. Hold on, hold on. Yahtzee. I knew if it the message, I haven't even read it. I knew if it was hidden, it was probably, but YouTube hides like random stuff sometimes that I'm like, okay, but why did they hide that? Like, is there like a hidden energy behind it? What the heck? Hold on. So okay. Wait. All right. Hold on, let me catch up. Oh, you were talking trash about my art, not Picasso. None of my art's here, though. I guess puzzles, but 11 p.m. Friday. Where are you? You're in England? I'm just kidding. It's not that late there yet. Where are you? Pico. Oh, geez. We're done with that. Thanks for the hide, because that's a no. I was gonna hide that for sure, like, just so they don't come back. Oh my god. That sounds like you need medical attention. Not laughing, but you know what you're doing. You're definitely trolling. Like, who drops that in a chat? That's not, like, familiar with you, especially. Oh my god, there's more? What fudge? That's a no. Oh, wow. Thanks, Fraggle. I was like, did I need to catch up on that? When it starts to get super weird, like, because I saw that was a paragraph, and I read the first sentence, and I tried to be, not straight to the negative, but then I was like, nope, I'm out. I don't continue to read it because I'm not going to pollute my brain in that, you know? That's exactly what they want. So thanks for hiding them already, because I definitely was going to get to that, and I appreciate it. So I had to check something over here. Thanks, Mork. Hey, I remember you, Ish. What up? Yeah, the shadow boxes. Oh, I had a tumble this morning. One of my little, like, flower vases, like, fell off the wall, and it, like, shattered over here. So I'm, like, picking up little pieces of, like, glass. I was like, great. That was fun. Philippines. Wow, I saw it was like one of the 90 Day Fiancés. Maddie would kill me for a minute. I'm still watching some of that. Um, there was a guy in the Philippines over there, so I was watching a couple like segments in the Philippines. Maybe you'll see them over there. I actually don't know. I'm not up to date, so he probably is not in the Philippines anymore. Maybe the Czech. Maybe not. Who knows? Why are you there? That's fun. Getting loaded. What does that mean, Mork? Fraggle, how are you? How's everyone's week been? I'm like, who says getting loaded? Oh no, what was his name? I actually don't know the current status of that. I'm kind of behind. I went back and watched some stuff because I was seeing like couples I had never seen before. Ed, that's what his name is. Matthew that comes in here watched some 90 Day Fiance so we could trash talk it a little bit. But I mean, haters gonna hate. I'm still watching it ish. I'm like watching like Diaries. Is it Diaries or I did 90 Days before? Because I was like, who are some of these couples? I had never seen them before. And I'm like catching up on like some of the ones that I was watching when I caught up on another segment show for that. Then I was like, who are these people? So I went back and I was like, oh, I was like learning their story of like craziness. And I was like, oh, that makes sense why XYZ. Anyways. Don't mess around the US anymore. What does that mean? Like go partying? Do you go every year? $10 beers. That sounds insane. It is later over there. I like my mind cannot wrap around 10 beers at like I don't know. What is it? 10 a.m. 11 a.m. Blasted. Well, make sure that you get blasted with some H2O. Definitely stay hydrated. I was gonna maybe recommend Advil, but that's probably a tomorrow thing. Do not do that while you're drinking 10 beers. You miss? I had a couple drinks for the holiday season. Some good drinks, I will say that. But I was a little nervous because I hadn't drank in a while, and I'm like a cheap date at this point, you know, like get lit pretty fast. But I'm not really like a drinker like that. That was like the old me. And even the old me wasn't really a drinker. It was more of a socializing thing, which a lot of people do. But then I just realized, like, I don't know, it's not really for me. But I can do, like, a mix of, like, wine at home or, like, wine out, you know? I don't know. Immediate hidden. Oh, my good lord. Yeah, forever hidden. Thank you, because that's a no for me. Yeah, I don't even care if they're hidden when they say shit like that. Like, you're done. No. Gross. You can do whatever your heart contents on not my page. Thanks. We. Fraggle just disappeared? What's up with the being vague, Fraggle? Like, you just come in, bonjour, like, no excitement, just like, that's it. Must be having a Gemini day. And then you mentioned the Waldo, and you're just out. It's like, where's Fraggle? Where'd he go? You better be making taco soup. That would probably be really good for later, you know? Me and Davey will stop by for some taco soup. Scrolling on through. And Pico, get some water. You're gonna need it. Hopefully no one has to hold your hair back. You know? The one thing about, like, drinking though, like, I don't like feeling like trash for XYZ amount of time, you know? Bring the chips. Bring the music. Get lit. I know that's what Fraggle's doing right now. He's run off to make taco soup. He was like, I think, embarrassed at the taco soup, but we were down with the taco soup. You break up some chips, you put the chips in that puppy, and you call it a day. Actually, you need some sour cream, probably some cheese, you know? How's the new year treating everyone? It's so weird to be like, 2026. I'm like, what year is it? Dude, where's my car? You know? That's how I feel. I'm not gonna say I was shocked, but right after Christmas, they started rolling in with the Valentine's Day stuff. I'm like, yo, relax. That's where no one can enjoy things because you just are literally throwing it out there. But your girl is super stoked about that holiday discount candy. Less than a month away. Anyone got plans for the weekend? Okay, Davey, let's summon some people. Wazam! Summoned. I'm just kidding, but for real, let's summon some people. Do-do-do-do. Should be cutting some papers, but I'm like, yo, I'm willing to chat. Where are my people at? Davey's bringing the chips. I'll bring the I don't know, some sparkling water, sparkling unalcoholic, non-alcoholic, unalcoholic. What am I talking about? Non-alcoholic beverage. It's like a placebo. Everyone's just like drinking it, and we're not drinking, but we're having a good time, and then you feel that energy. You know, I've been like, I think we all have, but when you're aware of it, you like are more aware of it. But there's like people in this life where like you can be around and not have to like drink, smoke, whatever your preference is, and you just feel like naturally vibing off that energy, you know, and that's some beautiful stuff, because I feel like, you know, especially when you're like younger, I suppose that's the hype, is going out and like getting essentially trash, you know. But I think like when you are around like good vibes, you don't need to do that. Like, I don't know. Food for thought. You feel excited? Did you manifest some goals? I do feel excited about this year too. This year feels like more, I don't know, promising, inviting. It doesn't feel as like daunting. Like 2025 had like a different ring about it. 2026 feels definitely more encouraging. I've got a lot of stuff done personally, and I know that like I was saying earlier, makes me feel good to accomplish things. And I think like whatever is like soul filling, we need to entertain that more, you know. Of course, life isn't always roses, but there is a lot that we can learn when it isn't roses as well, and we can take that into our better days and productivity and motivational, like good spirits, and like keep pushing through, like because life is trying, like a lot of the time, you know, and we have to kind of like really rewire. I was like, we rewire all this, because this is how we keep accomplishing, like whatever it may be, you know. I really like to be adamant that like when you're in a structured like society routine of things, it can be hard to break out the molds. But you know, like I think it is so important to soul fill, because then we can accomplish other things. And like I was saying earlier as well, we can pour into what makes us happy, whether it be humans, crafts, reading, creating, talking, whatever it is. And we do it like wholeheartedly instead of like drained and worn out. We Yes, absolutely. I totally I can feel that. You know, even as I'm sitting here, like I was like, okay, well, I'll go live, I'll chat, I'll be like actively in the chat. If I don't like accomplish as much here, I won't feel as bad, because I do have like where I want to pour into my chat too, you know. And my peeps, overall my peeps. But I do think that more of like getting things done has been the vibe this year for sure. It's where I'm not like beating myself up so much, because we have to recharge as well. I think a recharge is so important, and sometimes we're just like go 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 go, and we're all of a sudden like, why am I so XYZ? Because you're freaking tired, you know. So definitely making sure that we pour into things appropriately. It's like a little like recipe, so to speak, and finding the like perfect like ingredients that like make the soul sing. That's the important part. Distraction is definitely important. I will say like doing less like screen time and like not being on my phone and stuff like as much. I definitely think that I get more stuff done. And then sometimes I come back to my phone, it's like a whole nother like chore list, I feel like. So it's like making your own little like recipe. So 2026 ingredients for soul singing, you know, and then you label that, like what is that, you know, what do we consider soul filling? Obviously life happens, we all have to pay our bills, so we have to like pour into that with no choice, you know. But there's always like, if there's a will, there's a way, you know. So finding that good happy medium, because I know when I changed my schedule around and my life around, like I was like, what do I do with myself? Like I've had all these ideas for years with no time, you know. And then it's like time, and then you have to like invest like energy, money, like a lot of different things, and making sure that you don't like feel like you were like left like sucked dry in a desert, of course, ultimately, and feeling like rewarded for the time that you've spent in XYZ department, of accomplishing what makes you happy in this life, because everyone's views of life is different. I don't want to hear everyone wants to be rich. Of course we all want to have money and not have to worry about things, but I do see a view of life of, like said before, like look at all the people that have like bukus of money and they don't even know what to do with their life. Like, that's crazy to me. I think there's always some other like viewing on the other side. The grass isn't always greener on the other side, right? So I think it's like finding like more soul fulfilling stuff, and then the money comes along, you know. At times it's like I feel like we go through like maybe moments of like uncertainty. Like, even if you have like a full structured job, it's like never enough. Like, when I was working my 9 to 5, it was like never enough. Like, I was always striving for more and more and more and more. And then it's like you get to a point of like, okay, like you don't know if this is even fulfilling. So something has to be rewired in this, or changed out of this ingredients. I feel like maybe cooking isn't the best reference, because once you put in ingredients and you mix them, you can't take them out. So maybe like a different calling than maybe a recipe. But you know what? Soul filling. If you want to take out something in the ingredients, then it's your life. You can do it, right? And it'll just all work out okay. And I think that we put a lot of pressure on this because no one knows what we're doing here on Earth, so to speak, or life, really. We're just vibing along and what makes us happy. And everyone has like their own different definitions of what makes them happy. We. You can feel it. I feel, I feel that is the energy this year, and we ought to like own that, you know. And you weigh it out. Like, I think like a lot of times, like we go when you're a deep thinker, like we go really deep in like the thought like patterns. Like, we're just like, if this doesn't work out, this could happen, this could happen. And then it goes down a rabbit hole, you know. But we don't spend as much time on what's the best thing that can happen. And that's like one of my go-tos as well, like especially when I get frustrated in life. I'm like, okay, this happened for a reason. What's the best thing that can happen from this, you know? And then there's all of us, if we can take a moment in time and just think about like the times that things worked out when we didn't expect them, it was a good portion of the time, you know? A lot of the times we like work up this whole thing that's not going to happen. It's not always, but if you know yourself as a person, how do you handle those things, you know? Because like at times, like, you know, as I chug along through my own life, I see like patterns, I see routines, symbolic things are important to me. So like I definitely will like realign and be like, okay, I'm learning this for this, and it brought me to this. And I can look back on XYZ amount of time and I can see events happening, and I'm like, how did I react to that? How did it end up? Did I react over too much, or did I know that it was going to work out and I had more faith? When I have more faith, I see things open, like doors open for me more, you know? And I think the hardest part is having faith, because it's hard. It's like this invisible string, like, you know, that, but it's everything at the same time. And spiritually, to me, it's everything, you know. So it's very hard to do that, and I think life is hard. That's part of the process, and that's without like sugarcoating it. But how do we make it work out for our better purpose, you know, our higher purpose in this life, which is the challenge, you know. So I think sometimes when we are debating an important decision like moving, you have to think about like, okay, what are the pros? What are the cons? You know, and that may be cliche, but when we break that down, even like maybe physically writing that, it's a different presentation to the mind and the soul of like, okay, this is like the literal, like this is like speaking it out loud. I feel like sometimes when you write things down, you're also putting it out to the universe. I did a lot of like universal, like burning my messages. Like if I had something to say, I would write it all out and then let it go. and destroy it, whatever. Just let it literally go. And I think a lot of times we just harbor things, like it's a human thing. And some people say, no, I don't, whatever, but they harbor things in different ways. There's always a way that we harbor things that aren't meant for us, whether it's personal relationships, people having like conflict, or like growing away from people, like whatever. We have like snippets of memories all through our brain, and how we handle these things and how we flourish into our soul purpose, our soul like work here, um, can be challenging. You just have to like really like have faith and surrender, which is so hard. I think I've talked to you about surrendering before, but it is a common thing, like, or a common reoccurrence, because we have to keep surrendering, and that can be tough. Like, it'd be like, oh well, I'm gonna hold on to this because fear is driving me, which I think fear is the devil's work. So it's like fear is driving me, so I'm going to hold on to this so tight and suffocate the shit out of this dream, idea, whatever it is, because I'm so like fixated that it may not work. And then it works. We forget that like we had all that fear because we're kind of excited that it works out, but like to go back and re-humble ourselves, because I have to do this too in my life, like re-humble myself of like, whoa, you like thought this was going to happen and it didn't. So it was more having faith, and like also remembering like that spirit, God, Jesus, higher power, what anyone wants to call it, has our back. If you're ideally being a good human, and karma sees all, like, if you're a good human or not, and that can be defined in so many different ways as well. But overall, you're a good human. You're not going out of your way to like be a troll, like hurt people, etc. It comes back in tenfolds, and I try to look at like, once again, things that are out of my control, of like, why is this happening to me? What can it do for me to humble me, make me a better person, view things differently, XYZ. And intuition falling on that at the end of the day, because I think like overall, the first thought is the answer. And I'm going to speak personally, and that's how I feel. Like, the first thought is the answer. And I've seen this in my life. Like, and I test waters a little bit, because I do see active like patterns and routines. So spiritually, I test waters at times, and I'm like, oh, well, let's see. I'm going to act on this first initial thought, and we'll see where it's at. Almost always, my first initial thought is right. Like, whether I'm doing a project and I think to go left, right, whatever, a deeper scenario, is this human a good human, a bad human? Like, almost always it's right. But when I start second guessing, because that's human nature too, because we do want to be right. Hold on. I feel like you like doubt yourself too. So that's where it becomes like a tug of war of like, what is the correct answer to do from here? But personally, whatever decision you make, whether it's your first thought, because I think a lot of things need to be thought out. I'm a deep thinker, so I do think that. But I think that we need to know ourselves and trust like in our higher power, the higher power, whatever anyone wants to call it. We need to trust into that more, because that's leading. Like, even the Bible talks about like the divine led XYZ to do XYZ and stuff. And I'm not talking about all the weird stuff that some of these stories get into, but I'm talking about like the basic learnings of like, they were guided by the divine. So anyone that thinks that like we cannot be guided by like a spirit or a positive energy, not calling the creepy jeebies out, none of that. The positive influences that we need spiritually in this life, like, we can be guided by that, and listen and have faith and lean upon that, instead of feeling like we have to do everything alone to make the right decision. Going back to what I was saying, no matter what decision that you make, whether it was your first initial thought that you think is right, because maybe it's not always right. I'm not perfect either. Maybe it's not always right. A good portion of the time it is, because I think that we have our feelings, and then spirit divine will guide us, and then we make an ultimate decision. And then I think that like we have other decisions. There's always like on how it could go. You may start debating it and second guessing it, make the decision anyways, and then you see there was an outcome that was not the right outcome that you wanted, maybe. So then you wish you had fallen upon the initial thought, and the initial thought, maybe wasn't the right answer because you need to learn something here. I think it's kind of like a meter of how shit could go south, if I'm being blunt. So it's like if you're making like a decision, okay, do I go right or left? And you are like in a happy medium spot of right and left, and you're like, you're in a tug of war, and you ultimately end up going left, but right was the right one. Left still is going to teach you something. So is it failure at that point, or is it a learning lesson? Most of the time we get annoyed. You want to think XYZ. As I get wiser, because I hate saying I'm getting older because I'm not. As I get wiser, I am learning, like, okay, like there's a method to this madness, it's not maybe something that'll work for everyone, but personally, I just like on my spiritual journey that I know that I am on, we are all on one, but the one that I am aware of and I know that I'm on and I'm not going to be in denial about is always a lesson. And how I react to the lessons is how they repeat themselves or how they teach me things, It doesn't need to be a burden, and life can sometimes feel like, rawr, but there's a lot to always learn, and how we react to things is how things happen. So like to have faith is the hardest thing overall. It's the moral of this story. Faith is one of the hardest things that we can do in this life. Everyone wants to talk about faith, but I don't think there's a lot of faith given. We all have doubts, and we're all wondering what's going on here at times. And when we go through like trial and tribulations, like we second guess things, we doubt things, we wonder what if. And if someone's saying that that's not happening, I don't know if that's the truth, because no matter where you're at in this life, we have all wondered XYZ, so wondering where we're gonna go, am I making the right decision, my life's falling apart, oh my gosh, it got better, but I forgot that I was, at the bottom, because I feel like some of my personal life experiences have hit rock bottom at times, like, and I still know that like there's so much growth that has happened. And I think what I've learned in those bad moments of time is like there wasn't enough faith, because things do turn around, and it doesn't always feel like it's going to turn around. Anyways. Oh. I'm like, blah, 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 blah. Boundaries are important. I've also been doing that, hence my absence. How's it going, Sarah? Happy Friday. Boundaries are so important. Do I? Yes, I do. I do. I have a couple. Do you? I'm like, welcome to what, my vent sesh? I don't even know if that was venting. I think that was just like expression, we should all be expressing like what we view things. And I don't think I'm always right. I actually like when people think differently than me, because it gives me something to think about outside of my thinking, we've all made decisions like and lean towards like things that feel like comfort zones, like, oh, we resonate with this, resonate with that. Hold on. You have two, that's cool. Yeah, they do get addicting. They do. And they're forever thing, And once you get one, like a new one, you're always like, did I do this? Did I do that? Was Steve Urkel? Did I do that? It's like a canvas, essentially. And good luck, Davey. I know everything will work out. You just have to stay optimistic. And when you start feeling like maybe not as optimistic, because we're humans and that happens too, you just take a moment to recharge and reminding ourselves that like the next day can present something different and it's a feeling. And we don't have to like trash every day that may not start off the best way possible, the way we wanted it to. But how do we turn this around, you know? Bye. Have a blessed day. Enjoy your Friday after your appointment. You know, do what the soul calls for, you know. Life is like our own little story, so write whatever the heck you want. I hope everything goes well at the appointment. Is it your first time in here, Sarah? I'm gonna actually get some H2O. Hopefully Pico's drinking some H2O. My bird loves dehydrated papaya. Or so I thought. Hold on. We. Give me 1 second. Yeah. Yeah, so I dehydrated some papaya. He loved the little like papaya pieces that they are very cheap about in his food blend, or one of his food blends. And I got some papaya and I dehydrated it yesterday, which took a portion of the day. I had to like keep flipping the trays around and everything, and he hates it. It was like great. But I got him like some treats, which he loved before. Some papaya treats. His birthday was last month. So I had like, I went out and got him some toys and some treats. And he hates them. Like, he hates the treats that he originally liked. Like, I put some, I tried to give him some, and he just like threw them down. He was like, absolutely not. And then the other day I tried again because I was like, all right, I tried a few times actually, but like I tried again the other day and I was like, all right, if he does it again, I'm just not going to give it to him. And because he's telling me clearly, but I'm just like a little confused because I was like, you did like these, but good to know. And I gave it to a couple in his bowl. He literally threw them all out one by one. I was like, all right. So I actually did an actual papaya because I really don't trust like a lot of the stuff that these animal food places put in their foods. And I also like think they do the same thing to humans. Like, are we really eating like good stuff? Most of the time, no. And I went and got an actual papaya, two of them, and I went and dehydrated one of them yesterday. And like I said, did most of the day doing that, like, because you have to like rotate the trays and stuff so it doesn't become too leathery and like dried out. He hates it. Hates it. He like threw it down. Yeah, he's very bold. His word dictionary of in his parrot world is is long. Like it's amazing some of the things he learns and I'm like, so you chose to pick that one for learning? Lately I've been trying to teach him what up. So he can say what up. He's the cutest. Love him so much. He makes all kinds of different noises. Do you have any pets? Oh man. Kenny. How old are you, Sarah? That's cool. How old's your cat? right. A little cardinal outside. Sweet. Anybody out there? quiet. Real quiet. Hello out there. Calling all my peeps. Oh my gosh. What happened to your face? Your ears must have been burning because I was talking about 90 Day Fiance earlier. Actually, I was talking about the 90 Day Diaries, or there's another one too. It's like before the 90 days or something. What up? Happy Friday. Looks like the sun is like trying to be a part of the day. How's it going? Why does that sound like what you said sounds like from a video or something? Or like a video game? I don't know. I was jamming out over here. I need to do like a jam out live. So I was like all mutes, jam outs, be in and out of the chats. I'm here nor there. The usual. Why is that every time I say hi to someone, they disappear? They're like, oh, I'm out. Like Fraggle. Fraggle Rock. And now Maddie. And like the profile picture threw me. I was like, who is this? The blue provided the blue, and now your profile is blue. Okay. I like to find little signs when I'm cutting. Like, I think it's always about timing in this life, and when you see things and you feel things, messages come along, signs, answers, all about timing. There's no coincidence. So it is interesting sometimes when I'm seeing things cutting, like they're like answers to like what's going on in my life. And I think there's answers all around us. So it is interesting when we do take note that the universe is responding to us. It responds even more and gives you other it gives you answers to what you're looking for, or confirmations, reminders. It's always interesting. Or like, say, like, you know, when you think about someone, then they call you, or like you think about someone, then you see them. Is it a coincidence or is it timing? I saw something a few minutes ago about painting. I was just talking about that this morning. There was something else earlier that was like patience. Said patience, please. We all need a little bit more patience. Then this one says, you're not telepathic, it just steers that way. Wild. I'm just saying that. I believe we're all like telepathic. It's like anything, the more you like invest time into something, the more you get better at it. It was perfect. No coincidences. Like my bird's like rambling stuff. So it's actually pretty cool. He's learned some wild bird calls. So when some of the regulars from outside come by, he gets so excited. Oops.